we head to the Ying Fortress. Chapter 12. Mileena.
I think that really is a thing that's unfortunate about this game. Mileena? This is some random characters to play as. I kind of like that a lot.
Okay, I hate to already be nitpicking at the beginning of this chapter, but what the f are the royal family doing here? I know Liu Kang went to seek help, but that's the Queen of Outworld and her daughters. Was the situation that desperate that no one else was available? Li Mei, Shiva, KK. Also, Liu Kang told Raiden and Kung Lao to go fuck off since chapter 8.
Go to the Wuxi. The monks must prepare you for war.
Keep in mind, the heroes believe that the Soul Stealers are the biggest threat to Earthrealm right now.
Earthrealm is in grave danger. Just one Soul Stealer can kill hundreds of thousands. If he unleashes a battery of them,
millions will die.
And yet after 5 chapters of preparing for war, only Scorpion and Smoke showed up here.
What?
Why aren't the rest of the Earthrealmers here? What in the actual fuck is more important than stopping the army that can destroy the world? They were probably playing Mario Kart multiplayer or some shit. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi have gathered enough souls for the Dragon Army, and they decide to leave the Soul Stealers on as a distraction. So just to recap, these Soul Stealers have been turned on since chapter 9, creating 5 Soulnados, and they have been soul sucking for 4 chapters.
Just one Soul Stealer can kill hundreds of thousands.
Where are these souls coming from? Is it like oxygen? Are we going to run out of it in the atmosphere? And now our heroes begin the ambush.
Oh! Good one, Katana. It's time for these ladies to be somewhat useful now. They've been kind of trashed all story mode. Did you not hear that?
Will they stand down if ordered?
No. Those are the General's most loyal lieutenants.
Thank you so much for the explanation. As a parent, my 6-year-old son needed to know that the heroes were brutally killing the bad guys. Thank you for clarifying that. Media literacy is totally not dead. They attack the bad guys and try to shut down the Soul Stealers. Ermac shows up, chucks some rocks, and grabs them into the fighting stage. Tanya gets hurt.
my ribs.
And so Mileena defends her. Playing as Mileena here is quite a special case. In chapter 4 and 10, you fight Mileena in target mode, but without size. But here, you play as Mileena with size, but without target mode. 2 different kinds of nerfs in the story mode, but you can still use some target moves with a normal mouth for some reason. It looks great. Tanya is also your Kamiya fighter, even though she's hurt.
My ribs.
Ermac is such a nice guy. Tanya dropped her staff on the first floor, but Ermac was nice enough to grab it back for her.
Praise Argus.
Mileena wins. She shares a sweet moment with Tanya, and then they move on. I guess this is also a good time to do this. Let's break it down. Tanya. I'll start with the elephant in the room. Her appearance. Some people say that she's ugly, and would even compare her to certain animals, while others say that she is the most beautiful woman on the roster, and that she's so pretty that it's unfair to the other ladies. Personally, I find her to be fine. I prefer her MKX design, but I think she's fine here. I also find this conversation about her appearance to be boring. It feels like this is the only discourse people talk about with Tanya, and I feel like we've ran this conversation dry already. So instead of a rage-baiting political discourse, I wanna talk about her character. I view Tanya's character like I view Rain's. She's kind of boring. Sometimes it's even hard for me to remember she's in the story. The most interesting thing about her character is the Umgadi clan's culture, and her forbidden love with Mileena. Now let's take a look at her previous counterparts, and just like when I talked about Rain, I feel like a lot of you have rose-tinted glasses when viewing previous versions of Tanya. Tanya is an Edenian with great power and status. However, she is secretly an agent for Shinnok, and plans to betray Edenia. After Shinnok dies, she joins Shao Kahn. After Shao Kahn dies, she joins the Deadly Alliance. After the Deadly Alliance dies, she is forced to join Onaga. After Onaga dies, she joins the forces of Dark to fight the forces of Light. And then she dies. That's all. That's her whole entire story. She works for someone, betrays people, then works for someone else. What are you, Devourer? So this might sound outrageous, but I don't mind them changing her lore a bit. I feel like they can flesh out her character and a new timeline, and an M1K. She still kind of sucks. The biggest issue that I see many people have with Tanya is that her changes are way too drastic from her previous iterations. Now, yes, there are many characters who have been drastically changed in this universe. However, there's still some semblance of their previous counterparts living on in some way. Raiden is not the protector of Earthrealm anymore. He is now a mortal who strives to become someone as great as that. Syzoth barely resembles his previous counterparts, but the spirit of Reptile still lives on within him, with his connections with Zotera, and the fact that he's still a lizard boy. But what does Tanya carry over? She wears yellow. I can't really think of much else. Even her weapon and a lot of her moves are different. With how different this character is, I feel like if they made her an NRS original character and called her Mrs. Umgadi, nobody would bat an eye. Heck, I think calling this character Jade would have been better. Have her wear green and be friends with the princesses. Then boom, you're done. If you were a Tanya fan and you saw how much of a change Tanya got, I feel like you'd be very justified to be disappointed. Although, you guys didn't have it as bad as Dairu fans. Overall, I really don't give a shit about this character in the current story, and I hope NRS will do something more interesting with her character in the future. Actually, there is one last major issue with her character that I haven't seen anyone talk about. It's something that NRS set up, completely forgot about, and it robs Tanya of a very interesting character arc. And that thing will be talked about when it happens later on in this video. Gotta keep viewer attention high somehow. Did you know that only 50% of the people watching this Mileena and Tanya try to leave, but Ermac gets up, and he turns into King Jerrod. He has now gained control of Ermac's body. This is huge for MK nerds. This was set up since chapter 3, and teased in chapter 6, but King Jerrod being one of the souls in Ermac was established all the way back in the MK9 arcade ending. Fans loved this idea, and NRS was more than happy to oblige, and they made it officially canon in M1K.
Thank you. I am in your debt.
You are Umgadi, but not Li Mei.
I replaced her after your death, Your Majesty. She left the Order rather than accept punishment.
It was not her fault.
A discussion for another time, Father.
Okay, fuck you to them. You could have just asked for a name, but let's keep this shitty mystery that won't be resolved for another 5 years going, shall we? They then head off to meet the others, but since we're on this topic anyways, let's break it down. Ermac. I've always loved Ermac's creation. A body with thousands of souls is such a cool concept, and that origin is still very similar here. I do feel it's a bit unfortunate that King Jerrod is taking the spotlight of Ermac. Not that he doesn't deserve it with what the poor king has been through throughout the years, but I just want to see the We Are Many personality more. Luckily, it seems like that's the direction they're going with based off the arcade ending. King Jerrod then reunites with the rest of his family, making for another fan service scene NRS gave us. Fans have always wanted to see Sindel and Jerrod happily together, especially after Sindel's awful MK11 ending. The gang go into the fortress to ambush the Deadly Alliance.
How is it they're unaware that the Soul Stealers are shut down?
We are deep within the mountain. From here they couldn't tell.
Thank you for that super unnecessary information. My 6-year-old son really appreciated that.
Look at them conspiring. Look at them conspiring.
Mileena tries to distract the villains by pretending to be evil. Okay NRS, I see what you are doing. Fans expected Mileena to turn evil in this game. And this scene right here is the developer's way of saying, haha, you thought she would go evil? We would never mistreat our Yas Queen Mileena. Especially after we didn't add Mileena into MK11's base roster and received tons of hate messages. We love Mileena. This is definitely not forced. Here's 11 skins for her. Please don't shoot us. Jeez NRS. Stop feeding us so much fan service stuff all of the sudden. It says if you are softening the blow of a cosmic level horror that is about to approach us or something. Then they start the ambush. Worst stealthy assassin ever.
It takes years to master our ways.
My ribs.
Mileena fights Shang Tsung.
Unfortunately without his crown.
Mileena wins. And now, right here, we reach the moment of no return.
We have just lost cabin pressure.
This is where the event happens. This is where the twist happens. This is where Mortal Kombat 1 dies. After Shang Tsung's defeat, his benefactor appears, and I'll just play out this whole scene.
Oh, where are we going with this?
Meet Damashi.
Damashi? Oh shit.
You are the
Whoa!
victim of deception, sorcerer.
I saw that! I saw that!
Okay, a fuck ton happens here. I'm not even sure where to start.
Where to begin?
I guess I'll begin with the obvious. NRS has permanently ruined their own franchise. A second time. Because NRS just introduced the multiverse.
By the Elder Gods.
What in the actual
Isn't this great? Everyone loves the multiverse. This is going to be the best thing ever. Look, I can yap about multiverse stuff for hours, but I have 3 more chapters and an entire expansion to complain about it. So let's instead focus on what's in front of us. Shang Tsung called the benefactor Damashi, which is obviously a nod to Mortal Kombat Deception.
You are the victim of deception, sorcerer.
But this entire story is also similar to Deception's Conquest mode. In that game, Shujinko was approached by Damashi for a grand quest, but by the end, Damashi betrays Shujinko for his own goals. In M1K, Shang Tsung was approached by Damashi for a grand quest, but by the end, Damashi betrays Shang Tsung for his own goals.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
The benefactor turns out to be Titan Shang Tsung. In MK11 Aftermath's ending, the battle between Fire God Liu Kang and Keeper of Time Shang Tsung was so powerful that it split into 2 timelines. One where Liu Kang won, and the other where Shang Tsung won. Now, a very important revolution is made here. Kronika is not in the story mode. The story mode is saved, yay. However, what was the point of Shang Tsung disguising himself to look like Kronika? You could have put on a mask and call yourself Mystery Man, and it wouldn't have changed anything in the story. No one in this universe knows Kronika, and Liu Kang and Garrus couldn't even recognize her face.
Who is she?
Unknown. Her identity has been obscured from the hourglass.
So the only reason Titan Shang Tsung disguised himself to look like Kronika was to trick you, the player. Good job. You totally got us. Now that reaction you saw me had when the reveal happened was not because of alternate universe Shang Tsung. It's because that's Dark Raiden from MK11, from Shang Tsung's ending.
That's straight up Richard Epcar Raiden right there. That's the one I was shouting at, by the way.
That got me very excited to see what other references we could get. Maybe we can see Dark Fusion. Nope.
No. No way.
That's all. Nothing else is carried over, which is a real shame. I feel like for this multiverse twist to really work, they needed to pull more stuff from MK11 to make me really feel the impact of the multiverse shenanigans. And the best way they could have done this is bring back Hiroyuki Tagawa as Titan Shang Tsung. I feel like the scene where Shang Tsung talked to Titan Shang Tsung would have been way more powerful if that were the actual MK11 version. A semi-passing of the torch. Heck, we actually got this in Mortal Kombat Onslaught. M1K Shang Tsung met Hiroyuki Tagawa Shang Tsung, and that game is fucking dead. So let me summarize Titan Shang Tsung's motives. Shang Tsung got really bored in his own timeline. Then he found out about Liu Kang's universe, so he conducted a plan. He infiltrated the timeline, corrupted some characters to work for him, and got them to give him the Dragon Army. He promised to help conquer Earthrealm and Outworld with them, but his true intentions is to, and I quote, kill all life in this timeline.
My intent is to exterminate all life in this timeline, and then merge it into my own.
I feel like that is extremely excessive, but you do you, I guess. It turns out you don't need the crown to control the Dragon Army. You just need the souls within it. So he breaks the crown, releasing the souls into the soldiers, and I guess due to his sheer aura, can now control them. He then leaves Dark Raiden and Sindel to clean up the rest. The Deadly Alliance are understandably pissed about being betrayed, and so they work with the good guys in this crisis. The battle begins, and everyone takes a hit. Mileena activates target mode and fights Dark Raiden.
Further resistance serves no purpose. This timeline will be destroyed. Fight.
It would have been perfect. It was Richard Epgar.
Unfortunately, he's not played by Richard Epgar, but he's played by Travis Willingham, who plays Raiden in MK Onslaught.
From time immemorial, the realms have been locked in mortal combat.
And he's also Thor in Marvel Rivals.
Behold the God of Thunder!
Dark Sindel is a Kamiya fighter. She's got the shitty headgear, yet she doesn't have it during cutscenes.
What?
And the headgear in the Kamiya render isn't even the same in the gameplay.
What?
Mileena somehow defeats the God of Thunder and rejoins the group. What the fuck were y'all doing when Mileena and Tanya were fighting Dark Raiden?
My ribs.
And they proceed to fight Dark Sindel. This looks oddly familiar.
Come forward,
Wait.
if you dare.
What is that
I
music?
will finish what Raiden
No.
could not.
Not again.
My ribs.
Hey there, this is Editing Sonic, and I just got done editing the Break the Targets montage, which took me over like 7 or 8 hours. And because I looked at this Sindel fight like over 100 times, I noticed one fatal flaw in this fight scene. Now, you may have noticed, okay, well, no, you wouldn't have noticed because you're not an insane person. Smoke barely has a target on his character. Now, Smoke already doesn't show up for like 90% of this entire fight anyways. However, there was actually a more funny reasoning as to why I barely needed to do anything with Smoke's character in this fight. His target is on his right leg, and then Sindel will trip him over, and that's how Sindel breaks his target. However, for a majority of this fight, there is something covering Smoke's right leg, and that's why you don't see the target. And the thing that's covering it is the furnace Smoke is no-clipping into. Smoke's body is literally inside fire before he runs towards Sindel. Again, nobody would notice this, but because of me, a crazy person who decided to do this funny edit, I happened to come across this funny glitch with our beloved Tomas. Well, you know what they say. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Literally.
Ever heard of the phrase one step forward, two steps back? NRS gave us some small fan service moments, then went all the way back to the Stone Age with this one scene. Do you think this is funny, NRS? Do you think this is clever writing? Do you think reminding us of one of the worst scenes in MK history is hilarious? I think uninstalling this fucking game is more funny. Regardless of the shitty reference, the fight might be dumber than the MK9 one. As stupid as the heroes were for going one at a time. At least it was in a straight line, so maybe they didn't want to hit each other. But in M1K, they had Dark Sindel surrounded. This is such an advantage for them. Start spamming projectiles, for crying out loud. I can see y'all standing around doing nothing as your teammates get beat up. And look, I can buy Dark Sindel beating up some of these characters. Heck, I can buy her beating up 2 at the same time. But 11 at the same time. This is some ridiculous power level bullshit. And I am especially looking at you, Fire God Liu Kang. I get you're not a titan anymore, but you are still the protector of Earthrealm, and you get defeated by a trip? You know what? I took back what I said in the chapter 10 video. Li Mei carried your ass the entire time. You would have died if Li Mei never won any of those fights. Anyways, as bad as the scene is, at least it can't get any worse. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Why? Why the fuck is this now a sword fight? When did Sindel learn to use a katana? She used a guandeo in previous games. You can even see some in the background. So why couldn't they reference that? Wait. Hang on. This katana looks familiar. Oh no. Oh no no no. You've got to be fucking kidding me. I have seen this katana before. It's Sento. It's mother. Fucking Sento. There are dozens of different katanas you could have picked. And yet you picked the mystical Tyra clan Blade Sento. For both Sindels. He's Sento. He's Sento. You're Sento. I'm Sento. Are there any other Sentos I should know about? Meow. Anyways, the mothers have an epic Kartana fight. Too bad out of all the random armor plates on your outfit, you didn't have one for your neck. Sindel also decides to hit Dark Sindel with the butt of the blade, instead of just fucking stabbing her. Too bad the armor plate was V-shaped, otherwise the armor would have been useful. Also, good guy Sindel could have easily won that if she didn't take so long to swing that Kartana. Mileena fights Dark Sindel, who now doesn't have the shitty headgear, yet her render still has it.
What?
Wait, that's literally just a render of default Sindel.
What?
Natara! Wait. Where did she come from?
At first I thought this was base universe Nitara, but this is actually Nitara from Shang Tsung's timeline, who shows up in chapter 14. Why the fuck is she here? They could have done the Dark Raiden was only pretending to be defeated gag again. But girls get it done, I guess. Mileena wins. I repeat, Mileena. With the help of Tanya.
My ribs.
One against the being that defeated all 11 of the good guys at the same time. Do you have the slightest idea how fucked the power scaling is now because of this? Li Mei defeated Mileena in Tarkat form. Li Mei was then defeated by Syzoth, who was defeated by Baraka, who was defeated by Kenshi without Sento, who was defeated by Raiden without the amulet. So Raiden, in the Shaolin monk's outfit, without powers, is stronger than Fire God Liu Kang.
Felled by a simple farmer.
Sindel lays on the ground dying, though she's not actually going to die, right?
Mother, you can't go.
You'll be fine, Sindel. Oh wow, they actually killed her, wow.
Welp. Sindel just died to an alternate universe version of herself. Yay. I guess this Dark Sindel fight can be a contender for one of the worst scenes in the Mortal Kombat franchise now. Here's a funny fact. Sindel is the only character who dies in this entire story mode who's from Liu Kang's timeline. I feel like with how much fans rage when fan favorites get killed off, NRS decided to hold back on the mass killing this time, and decided to only kill off one character. And so they made sure her death was epic, and with that stupid ass sword fight, they guaranteed that it wasn't. Sindel passes the mantle to Mileena, and passes away.
Let us pass.
This is a truly tragic moment. Anyways, let's execute Tanya now. Do you think I'm joking? Kill her. Now. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too harsh and sudden? Well, let me kindly remind you all that this is the exact same thing that happened to Li Mei. The leader of the Umgadi, Li Mei, failed to protect King Jerrod, and thus was blamed and shunned by all of Outworld. And just now, the leader of the Umgadi, Tanya, failed to protect Empress Sindel. This is extremely bad for Tanya. The Umgadi's sole purpose is to protect the royal family. Heck, it's the entire clan's reason for existing, and yet they allowed the princesses and queen of Outworld to go to war. Why weren't the rest of the Umgadi clan there? Their entire existence is to protect the royalty, and they failed. Now the queen is dead. They should disband their clan for their own failure. They should commit seppuku for dishonoring their name. This is the thing that I was talking about in Tanya's breakdown. I feel like this was a great opportunity for some serious character development for Tanya. How would the Umgadi clan feel after failing so miserably? How can Tanya face Mileena after failing to protect her mother? And my favorite idea. Li Mei can comfort Tanya, because she has been in that exact same position before.
You're a loser, baby. You're a loser just like me.
Thanks, asshole.
There is a lot of potential for Tanya's character here, but good old NRS pulled another NRS and conveniently forgot about this. And so Tanya and the Umgadi are completely off the hook. No consequences for the clan whatsoever. This fucking sucks. NRS established the rules to their own worldview.
She quit in disgrace rather than accept punishment.
And yet when it's time for Tanya to face judgment, they just sweep it under the rug. Because they've got no time to talk about this conflict. They are too busy with the multiverse plots. Fuck you guys. It's going to be completely your own fault when no one remembers this version of Tanya. because you guys were too pussy to push her narrative forward. King Jerrod then soul sucks Sindel. So now Sindel's soul resides in Ermac. I wanted Ermac to pull a Mia Fey here and transition Jerrod's face into hers.
Hurry, everyone. We must withdraw.
And that is pretty much chapter 12. Welcome to the Double ID, interesting intro dialogues, where we look at character intro dialogues to gain more information about the current chapter we're on. Titan Shang Tsung called himself Damashi because he respects the OG.
Why did Titan Shang Tsung name his alter ego Damashi?
Damashi was the greatest deceiver in history.
Sindel's fate and every timeline is tragic.
Your fate has always been tragic.
In every single timeline?
There is only one intro that talks about Tanya failing to protect Sindel.
Which of the royals will die on your watch?
Not one.
Even though Dark Sindel killed Sindel, the blame is put on many others.
Your mother's death is regrettable.
I consider you complicit, Bihan.
I didn't expect your mother would die.
What do you think happens in revolutions? The law puts Sindel's death at your feet.
Huh?
I'll have your head, Bihan!
Your mother's death wasn't my doing!
And look, I get these guys aren't 100% innocent, but there were 10 people who clearly witnessed what happened. Heck, Bihan didn't even know about the multiverse plot twist yet.
I can't trust Lin Kuei. You were complicit in—
Bihan knew nothing of Titan Shang Tsung.
The phrase Twindel is now canon in Mortal Kombat.
I'm told your evil twin was something else.
The thought of her repulses me.
Congrats to the fourth snake. Let's break it down. Mileena. Let me start with some positives. I think having her be Kitana's biological sister was a great change in this universe. Mileena has shown to want to be Kitana's sister in previous timelines.
Sister.
And Kitana, very understandably, doesn't want that. So Liu Kang giving Mileena this chance in the new universe is a very cool change. Another thing I like is that I genuinely thought Mileena was going to revert to a bad guy again. The marketing made it feel like that.
I only want what's best for you.
Or do you secretly covet my throne?
The game also felt like it was setting up for that too. I thought we were going to get another Bihan, a character that just felt they were holding back turning evil the whole time. So when chapter 12 happened, and it turns out she's genuinely a good guy, that pleasantly shocked me. This is something I wanted to see back in my MK12 prediction video.
I think a lot of people want to see good guy Mileena. It's been teased, it's been showcased here and there, but it's never been done before. But I think people want to see like a cute sister relationship of Mileena and Kitana. I would love to see a take on a good guy Mileena.
So I am happy they did it here. However, having a good guy Mileena also presented some issues. I know I said Mileena being a good guy subverted my expectations, but there were reasons as to why I thought she was going to become evil again. Let's look at Mileena's character before chapter 12. The first time we see her, she seems stern, cocky, grumpy. She's rude to Li Mei. She selfishly went out of the palace and got Tarkat. She complains to her mother for not being able to fight in the tournament. She flirts with a Numgadi in public, who are sworn into chastity. Kitana kindly warns her about this.
I have eyes.
And Mileena rudely storms off. She disobeys her mother when she tells Mileena not to fight. In fear it'll activate her Tarkat. And then it activated her Tarkat, and it almost got her mom killed. I'm sorry. This is the Mileena we are supposed to root for to become the good guy. She's barely shown any positive traits throughout the entire story. And I think NRS picked up on that and decided to shove every character arc into her one chapter. She protects Tanya and proves to her that she is capable, saves her father, and has a touching reunion with him, tricks the Deadly Alliance by pretending to be evil, and winks at the camera, defeats the Deadly Alliance, is able to control her Tarkat symptoms to help her fight, defeats the God of Thunder, defeats OP Dark Sindel, and gets her mother's recognition as she passes the title of Empress to Mileena. That was not character growth, that was character speedrun. Just like the complaint I said for Li Mei. I felt like the climb was too easy. NRS tried shoving way too much Mileena down our throats way too fast. I think it would have been better if they paced these arcs throughout the story. Going back to before chapter 12, I thought Mileena's character would go down two paths, which I think would have made her a more interesting character. 1. Throughout the story, her symptoms would slowly become worse, and she would tragically succumb to Target and become fully feral. Kitana would try to help her out, and maybe even Baraka could come for assistance. 2. Even though I said it was expectable, I feel like having Kitana and Mileena have conflict could lead to more interesting scenarios too. Speaking of her sister, let's break it down. Kitana. She tries to be nice with everyone. I'm struggling to think of what Kitana does in the game. I can only think of stuff that I wanted to see her do. In chapter 3, when Kitana was representing Mileena in the tournament, I thought Kitana was going to disguise herself to look like her twin sister, so the tournament wouldn't have a commotion about Mileena's absence. There was always a gimmick on how Kitana and Mileena looked identical, but no, they don't do that. They don't even look alike in this game. By not having the sisters have conflict and focusing on a good guy Mileena, they completely threw Kitana to the wayside. The funny thing is, when I look at M1K Mileena, I don't see the older versions of Mileena. I see the previous versions of Kitana. A Kitana who is still under Shao Kahn's influence and is maturing and finding her own place in this world. I feel like I'm seeing Kitana's arc within M1K Mileena, so much so that I don't even think Kitana needed to be in the story mode. She doesn't have a reason to be on the base roster. Okay, the reason she's on there is because NRS does not want to receive death threats. This isn't a joke. Our community is just that fucked up. Overall, I don't dislike Mileena. I think she's fine, and she does get some interesting development in the arcade endings, but I just don't like how they shoved all her development into one chapter, and the potential she had as a villain seemed more interesting. As for chapter 12, I kind of like the beginning parts, but once the twist begins, everything goes to shit. Having that Dark Sindel scene was the worst way you could introduce us to the multiverse, and things are only going to get worse from here.
You are forever dead to me.
Huh? Huh? What?